So I presume you clicked on this video for one reason and one reason only, right? You want to learn about remote events, but you don't know what those are. You don't want some complicated tutorial, right? So I'm going to explain it to you in Microsoft Paint, okay? So this is going to be the symbol for a remote event, right? The charge doesn't look very good, but you get the idea, right? It's also going to say remote event, so you should know. But what is a remote event, and why do we want to use it? Right? They could be very confusing. Like, what does that even mean? Right? Think about it this way. You have a server, okay? This is the server, and you have a client, which is basically you. It's every single player in the game, so it's you, right? Say that is you. Now, say we have a specific task, and we're like, okay, player, can you do this task? And the player says, no. I cannot do this task. I don't have the authority. I cannot see what I need to see to do this task, right? Then, since that didn't work, we go to the server and we say, hey server, can you do this task for us? And the server's like, oh yeah, sure. Easy peasy, right? Now say we have another task, okay? Call this task 2. We ask the client to do this task, and the client say, yeah, sure, this is easy as pie for me, right? Then we ask the server, and the server says, not gonna happen, buddy. I can't see that. I don't have the power to do that, right? So how do we fix this and do both tasks, right? Well, if we want this task to happen as a result of this task, then we can link the client and the server, right? We can use the server for this task, and then we get the notification that, oh, we want to do this task, and the client says, okay, I'll do this task. And then we get our big result, okay? Very happy. Everyone is happy now. So how do we achieve this? How do we link the server and the client together? Well, that is where your remote event is going to come in. So think of your remote event as this nice little orange circle, right? Because remote events are orange. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this remote event somewhere where both the client and the server can see it, okay? So the server can see it, and the client can see it. This is you, this is the client. And you're both looking at it, right? You both see it, and you're like, okay, I see that. Now, what is this special place? Well, usually where you're going to want to put your remote event is replicated storage, right? That is somewhere where both the server and the client can access, okay? So, now that we have a remote event, what we're gonna do is, for an example, say we want to give the player some coins, right? Everyone wants coins, right? Say we wanted to give the player 50 coins. And we don't want to just give them the coins, right? That'd be too easy. We want the player to click a button to get these coins, right? Give them a little bit of a challenge, okay? So once this button is clicked, we want the player to get 50 coins. Now, how we do this is we take our remote event, right? And this is what we're talking about, 2 tasks. The client is able, it says, no problem. I can detect when a player clicks a button in their GUI. Now, if the server were to try and do that, it would say, no, I cannot access individual players clicking their button in their GUI. Server cannot do that. So, we will add the remote event as a variable in a local script, so it's a variable now. Let's make this a nice color. Variable, right? And now that it is a variable, we can reference it any way we want. So we can connect a function from this, right? Abbreviate function, right? And when this function is connected, we are going to take the remote event and we're going to fire it, right? No, not that kind of fire. Firing, like telling this remote event to wake up and activate. Okay? And what do we do once it is activated? Right? So remember how I told you that both the server and the client should be able to see your remote event? Well, since it is activated, that is going to be seen by the server, and the server is going to say, look at that, this remote event has activated. And what does it do once it sees this? Well, you also will have a variable on the server, right? You're going to have a variable on the server for this nice little remote event to clear things up for you. So now that this is fired, we have a variable, right? The client has detected that the button was clicked, and now, right? Now the server knows the button was clicked too. But why do we need the server to know, right? Why don't we just add the coins on the client, right? What's stopping us from doing that? Well, if we were to change the coins, we could change the coins, right? We could tell the player, look at that, you've just gained 50 coins. Wow, that is great. But here's the problem, right? Once they gain those 50 coins, the server has no clue what's going on, right? So if you try to leave, or if you want any other player to see how many coins you have, that's not going to happen because the server has to handle that, right? So this is like task 2. We need the server to do task 2 for us, which is changing the player's data, okay? So we have our activated remote event, went to here, and now we take this, our variable, and then our function. But this time, we're doing the opposite. We're listening for this variable, our remote event, we're listening for it to fire, like this, like we have here. And once it does, we can connect a certain function to it. In this case, give the player some coins, right? And now every other player, right? Say there was a bunch of players. Now, everyone can see your coins. Now, it's not just you. Now you get to share your progress with everyone. Now, granted, to save the data, you have to do a couple extra steps, and it's a little more complicated, but you get the idea, right? So what can we take away from this, right? What do remote events do, and why do we want to use them? So, if you remember, remote events, if you can see them somewhere, both server and you can see replicated storage, then they can listen for something to happen, or they can inflict something to happen. And the other side can do something based on that. And that is how we link server and client together to get unity. This is unity. And that is basically how remote events work in MS Paint. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot about remote events, okay? And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.